Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2021 Thanksgiving picks against the spread, game previews, and a free money line play from Cust this week, along with a Cust Corner Thanksgiving-themed mini for all of you to enjoy. Have a safe holiday, and if you're in your travels, well, I hope you have some safe travels, and we can hopefully help you kill some of that time, or if you need to duck out from your family, well, then you have hours of Pat Mayo Experience content that you can go through. I've already released a Thanksgiving Day DraftKings pick show with Davis Maddock. I'll have another show with Davis coming on Thursday, our just very random Corona cast to soak up another hour. We'll have a full Week 12 spread pick show coming out at normal time, so a ton of PME content to get you going. And of course, Cam Pizzola and I are going to be back on Friday to do the best bets of the week, which were bad bets of the week in Week 12, as were most of my bets. I had my worst week of the season in Week 11, so hopefully we can get back on track this time around. I lost my super lock, but Geoff didn't. Geoff, I thought I was having a great year with my super lock. 9-1 going into last week. I'm now 9-2. You're only a game back of me. You also are having a great year. Plus all your golf winners. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, I can't complain, although the overall betting card didn't have the week I wanted yesterday. And honestly, I didn't even bet Houston like I normally bet my super lock. I bet it, but you're betting Houston. It's so much harder to hit submit like on the bet slip. It really is. You get this almost buyer's remorse even once you make any bet. But I don't know, some people out there were all over it. Some showed me money line tickets. A buddy of mine took it on the money line. But yeah, I've been trying to hunt you down all season with these super lock Pats, and like I was exchanging every time I'd have to make a birdie to keep pace with you, essentially, like in a match play. So I'm coming for you, bud.
Well, the Saints finally let me down after riding them for most of the season and going one way on them, going the other way on them, being right every time until they finally faced the mighty Philadelphia Eagles. And there was a point in that game where there was so much time left that I was like, oh, they could lose by 1 here. This will be fine. Then they kicked a field goal for no reason to be down by 9, which just made absolutely no sense to me. So the Saints, and good, we get them on this slate as well. What else did I have to say? Yeah, my favorite game of the week when we spoke last week, I mean, I picked the Saints as my super lock, but I told you the one I had the biggest spread off about was the Colts. Didn't understand why they were such big underdogs. Didn't even bet the game when it came around. Got too shook by Buffalo. Big mistake on my end. But the bigger mistake happened from our fourth guest. Not the coin, because the coin is here. Coin minds its own business. The fourth guest on the show last week, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, brought up the old cut at Subway. And what's the deal with no one doing the old cut anymore? And what happened? The guy who invented the old style of cut at Subway died because he was Andercursed, thanks to Tim Andercust.
Tim Andercust.
That's not my name. And listen, the poor gentleman, I believe, was in his 90s. It's not my fault. That's a pure coincidence that we mentioned the old cut, and then the gentleman who co-founded Subway and invented the old cut passed away. That's very, very, I mean, I'm very sad for him and his family, and that's just a very freaky coincidence. That's all I can say. There's no curse.
What happens if the inventor of Nespresso dies this week?
I just finished enjoying an espresso. I just purchased some new Nespresso spoons, and I don't know how I ever lived without, to be honest with you.
You don't know how you lived without an espresso spoon?
Well, yeah, instead of clanging around with those unwieldy big like ice cream spoons or soup spoons like I had, now I've got those sleek and sort of heavier tiny spoons that you use for espressos and coffee lattes and stuff like that. And it really takes the experience up an entire notch, I have to say.
Again, you're literally like Encino Man. Like you discover things that are so like generic to the rest of the world. And
okay.
Geoff, I appreciate your pronunciation of Encino Man, because most people would just say Encino Man, but you pronounce it like Encino Man. Like there's really an emphasis on the man part of it. It just jars the eardrums every time I hear it.
Listen, when you're my age, you've got a good affinity.
I am older than you, I think.
No, but for those like Pauly Shore, Jury Duty, Biodome, Encino Man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm those were for I don't know how to put it. I enjoyed those movies, but
listen,
I was of that age of stupidity,
yeah,
I guess.
I think that like those movies all came out when I was the ages between like 7 and 11. So like we're not even counting like Son-in-Law, In the Army Now. There was like a good shore run there for a while, which
Jury Duty is a good movie.
What's that, sorry?
Jury Duty is a good movie.
Jury Duty is not a good movie, except for when he's the male stripper at the beginning. He pours milk all over himself, and he's the cream machine. I would wager if I went and watched one of those movies now, I would probably not have as enjoyable of a movie experience as I did.
Minutes.
Oh, I don't even know if I'd make it that far. Although Tia Carrera's in Jury Duty, and I am almost all in on anything Tia Carrera does.
Yeah, Wayne's World.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I was busy stirring something with one of my spoons.
What were you stirring? Were you stirring your DC?
No, I made a double espresso with a whip topping, and I got it layered really nicely. So I was sort of admiring it using my spoon while you were chatting. I'm sorry. I'll put it down.
Obviously, Tia Carrera comes out fire in Wayne's World, but as Raza and I talked about on the golf show last week, True Lies. People are sleeping on True Lies too much these days.
Well, it wasn't allowed to be on TV for a while.
After 9/11?
Yes, the whole terrorism aspect sort of made it persona non grata, and it never really made it, and it basically killed the movie.
I don't know. I see it on like whatever. I have one channel. It might as well just be the True Lies channel, and it's always on, and I can watch the entire thing. I can watch 10 minutes of it.
Movie.
It is not overrated whatsoever. It may,
most things James Cameron does.
It may be the
City.
best action movie of the 90s.
Oh, please.
One American City each week. What does he say?
I don't know. Everything James Cameron makes is overrated, basically, other than Aliens. So I'm sorry, I just don't have much time for it.
You don't like T2?
No, I don't. I like the original Terminator better.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
That is an odd opinion.
And I do like Aliens, so I'll give him that. But other than that, like, Avatar's unwatchable. Titanic is terrible. True Lies is fine, but overrated. Like, James Cameron's just an overrated filmmaker.
Agreed.
I would not say he's an overrated filmmaker, although I am not the biggest fan of Avatar. I'll try to pronounce it like I assume Geoff would. Or Titanic, as how I'm going to pronounce it. Very well-made movies. That's the big difference between True Lies and the rest of these action movies from the 90s. It's just the actual craft of the movie. Like, everything is just, for like 1994, it's like, oh my God, like, this is incredible. And it has
True Lies is amazing.
like peak of Arnold as well. And like peak Bill Paxton. Although some will say Frailty, but, you know, others might not say that because they haven't seen
I
it.
love Frailty.
There you go. Anyway, we should probably get into the recap of the show.
Pretty much anything that Michael Bay did in the 90s is better than anything James Cameron did.
This is not true.
Well, that's not a good.
Please,
place
I would
to
take
go
Armageddon over True Lies
Oh
any
my
day of the week.
God. That is
Yeah.
that is one of your all-time worst takes.
I like Armageddon.
Tim's
I like,
like, I like Pearl Harbor. I don't like True Lies. What
The
a
Rock
take.
is great.
The Rock
Armageddon
and
shit.
Armageddon are better than anything James Cameron's ever done.
True Lies and The Rock are both amazing. Armageddon, get out of town.
Well, you either like Michael Bay or you don't. I love Michael Bay.
There are select Michael Bay movies that you can go to or not go to. The Rock, I think, is his. I mean, I love Pain and Gain, so that's hard for me to say. But like Bad Boys and The Rock are awesome. I don't think that The Rock is on the level of True Lies, though. I just don't. It's like
True Lies doesn't have Sean Connery.
It's basically Speed and True Lies from the 90s for action movies.
Speed's there too. I'll give you that.
Speed
But The
is
Rock's got such a much
fucking
better
awesome.
cast.
I bought Speed on VHS. Like I made my parents buy that shit.
I went to go Speed 2
I
for a
enjoyed
birthday
that
party.
so much.
So I saw Speed 2 for a birthday party. It was so bad. It was one of those movies where, like, if it wasn't your birthday and you didn't have people there watching it with you, like, you could have walked out.
We went
Michael Bay directed a LaDainian Tomlinson commercial. That's my favorite. That's my favorite Michael Bay work.
On my 11th birthday, my friends and I went to go see Anaconda. It's not a good movie.
Ugh.
No, it's not that good of a movie. I remember the ads for Anaconda when they were on TV looked awesome. and it wasn't awesome.
Well, that's a good start to the show. We'll recap last week, but I do want to let everyone know, whether you're a video watcher or an audio listener, I'm giving away some money. Feel good about things. Giving away some money, although I just lost money. Still got money to give away. Thanks to you, great people out there, for supporting the show. Subscribe, rate, and review the Pat Mayo Experience on Apple Podcasts. You do that and say something nice about the show. You can make it up for all I care. Just say, hey, great show. People should listen to it. Leave your Twitter handle or email address so I can contact you if you win. I'm giving 3 people $100 who do this. If you've already done it before, you're automatically qualified. However, I would refurbish my review so it pushes it back to the top. You can just like hit edit and then hit send again. It'll push it back up to the top. Or if you've ever left one that doesn't have your like username in it or Twitter handle in it, just so you can qualify for it so I can contact you, please go do that. I'll announce the winners on not the next spread show tomorrow. A week from tomorrow, I'll announce the winners of that. So if you want $100, easy way to do it. Takes like 30 seconds. So please go do that. Like I mentioned, although the week is not over as we are speaking, as the Monday night game has not been played yet, I can't catch anyone this week because I had 4 correct. Geoff had 6, Cust had 7, and the coin had 6. You both got your super locks correct. I did not. And Tim's free money line parlay lost because Cam Newton couldn't outduel Tyler Heineke, as it turns out.
Frustrating. Just frustrating. Oh, well.
That brings you to 3-9 for the year.
However, we're into the wheelhouse now. This is Thanksgiving weekend, and this is where we hit historically.
What do you mean?
What are the odds you go 0-4 here?
I think pretty low. Like, I hit my Pilgrim parlay last year. I hit it 2 years ago. I hit both ends of it 3 years ago.
Okay, wait, yeah, that is just pure fabrication. You hit it twice in 1 year, and you haven't hit a Thanksgiving one since.
I hit it last year.
No, you didn't.
And the whole debate came down to whether we would count the game that got pushed to a Wednesday, but I ended up winning that anyway. So yes, I got it right last year.
You didn't get it right 2 years ago, then.
I'm pretty sure I did, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong a time or two before. Anyway, the Thanksgiving weekend does treat me well historically, and I'm looking for. I remember I got screwed one year because the Falcons were playing the Saints. And
Oh
the
my God, you bring up this game so fucking often. It's really bizarre for a game that the Saints won by like 30 points, and the game was really close though.
It was a really close game.
Oh yeah, it's the closest 30-point blowout in history.
We have to have another New Orleans game in Thanksgiving. It's becoming like a tradition.
Yeah, what is with New Orleans always getting the Thanksgiving?
No idea. It must be easier to have games there on a Thursday night than on a Monday or a Sunday. I don't know. I have no idea.
Maybe they're just less inclined. They know that that's a city that people will abandon their family at night. On Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Let's get into the games then. First up, we got the MVP game of the week, Chicago at Detroit. Detroit is a 3.5-point dog at home. The goof hasn't officially been ruled out yet, so we probably get Tim Boyle again, as that's what this spread is. I mean, it doesn't really matter who plays quarterback for them, probably not. So 3.5 is the line, 41.5 is the total. We still have Justin Fields in the picture right now. He's probably not going to play. Andy Dalton is probably going to play. We don't know if Allen Robinson is playing in this game, and it wasn't a good game to begin with. It's a real shit show for the opener. If there's a game to get blackout drunk during and then recapture the magic for the rest of the day, it's probably this game. So
I can't do. You get blackout drunk at 12:30 in the afternoon. You don't recover for the rest of the day.
Yeah, you do.
Your day's over now.
No, it's not true. You just have to drink really fast.
I think you're not coming around for the Cowboys game. Maybe.
When was the last time you got blackout drunk?
I haven't the foggiest memory.
Is it because you're blackout too often?
I may never. I don't think I've ever. In fact, I'm pretty sure I can say I've never been blackout drunk.
Well, so then it sounds like you're a real expert on the situation, aren't you?
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, if you think that you can drink heavily at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and then wake up fresh as a daisy for for 3 hours later to watch football, okay, well, that's your contention. I disagree.
Well, I mean, I have experience doing this and rallying back as the day goes along. So maybe I'll need to be like Geoff. I think his story mentioned something about trading VHS tapes for speed earlier on. Maybe that's something I'll need to do to rally sometime on Thanksgiving if I get blackout drunk. Is that what you said, Geoff?
Nope, it's not what I said. I said I bought the Keanu Reeves Sandra Bullock classic on VHS.
I thought you said I bought speed with porn VHSs back in the 90s.
with old wrestling tapes.
We had a friend try to buy into our poker game with porn VHSs one day instead of the like $30 that he needed to buy in. He thought four used VHS pornos from the 90s were good enough to cover his buy-in to poker. They were not.
Used, as if there would be a difference between brand new. Oh wait, yes there would. Never mind. just cluing in now. Let's move on.
Tim also likes to go to the vintage shop to buy used underwear as well, in case you didn't know.
Oh, good.
It hadn't occurred to him of what's going on. What do you want to do with this game? Because obviously, Chicago is the better team. Will they cover the 3.5? I don't know. Like Andy
Can
Dalton.
the Lions play 3 good games in a row? Because essentially for them, that's what it would mean if you took the Lions.
But
Because
the Lions didn't play good against Pittsburgh and they tied. They didn't play good against the Browns and they lost by 3.
Let me restate that. Can the Lions play good for them 3 times in a row? Because that's as good as they can play basically the last 2 weeks. And against two teams with winning records. I mean, like the Browns and the Steelers both are winning record teams. They play one to an actual draw and they play the other to a 3-point game. I don't know. The Lions get blown out in this game so often that I just think that's going to happen again. If it's Dalton, great. Like Dalton's competent, even though I prefer Fields in the game. I don't care who Detroit puts out there. Boyle is terrible. David Blau, who I think is the best of the 3, I'd give him a shot. They're not going to. He still played on Thanksgiving a couple years ago. He wasn't very good.
Yeah, you cursed him that day.
Oh, please.
I did curse him. He's lucky. He's lucky he's alive.
I'd like to see Blau play. That would be the only thing that's scary. But the first part of the Pilgrim Parlay partner is the Chicago Bears money line. Let's put the Bears on there. This is the white meat game of the day. It's the worst part of the meal. Let's put that on the parlay. Let's get through.
You notice Sean Connery showed up for a brief moment earlier.
Sean Connery did show up for a moment when we were talking about Michael Bay movies. I don't know that everybody knows this.
Is that like slightly special ed Bane? Is that the impression you're going for?
No, I'm doing a very, I think, good Sean Connery accent. But if you haven't seen The Rock, I was in The Rock. It's a good movie. It's better than actually half of the Bond movies.
Now that sounds like deranged Richard Nixon.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know if you know what Scottish people sound like.
I know what Scottish people sound like.
Your analogies for his imitations are better than the imitations.
Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, Geoff.
What was that one? Who was that supposed to be?
That was still Sean Connery.
Oh my god!
Like Bane, and what was the other one you said he was?
A deranged Richard Nixon?
Yeah, those are perfect. Those make more sense.
So Chicago is currently -170 on the money line at DraftKings Sportsbook. That would be my lean in this game too. But if you scan through the Lions schedule, this could be it for them. This feels like this could be their win.
Now, that's going to be the narrative for the next couple of days. But they don't have to have one. This team went 0-16 not that long ago, and the Browns went 0-16 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever. They have a tie. They're not very good. They played well 2 weeks in a row. They've been crushed multiple times this year. The Bears beat them by 10 the last time they played. The Bears should beat them again. So, yeah, we'll play the points, take the Bears, and put them on the parlay, Pilgrim.
Okay. Wow. You mentioned scanning the schedule, Pat. That's something I did because I believe we've seen a theme now with the Lions that played up to perfection up until last week. Now, let me just quickly try to do this. Week 1, they had that great rally versus the 49ers. We saw them, this team that could fight. And then they got their doors blown off, at least by the final score the next week versus the Packers. Because they are 6-4 against the spread this year. Then when they lost by 2 points to the Ravens, we want to give them so much credit. Tucker walk-off field goal. They lose by 10 to the Bears, don't cover. Right after that, it's a 2-point loss to the Vikings. We want to be like, this Dan Campbell team, they fight. They lose by over 20 to the Bengals, obviously don't cover. They threw the kitchen sink at the Rams. We sort of acknowledge that one. The next game, they lose by nearly 40 to the Eagles. Then they go on their bye week and they play the tie and this great effort. So I am somewhere in between that they've already thrown that final punch And obviously Thanksgiving represents a chance for them to play on TV and throw that punch, but it seems like every time they play a great game, they get their doors blown. I'm shocked that Cleveland. I've said last week I thought Cleveland would blow their doors off them. I thought that maybe that's more indicative of how shit Cleveland is, but to sort of Tim's point, piggybacking on how their schedule has really broken down when they play tough, great, gritty, close losses. And Pat's acknowledging they don't even play well in these games. Their opponents are just horrible in these last instances. I don't see them having 3 in a row on top of the case I made. Give me Chicago. I'll lay the hook.
I'm going to take Detroit. And if I'm going to bet this game, I'm probably going to wait until later in the week because I can't imagine many are going to pile on Detroit. I just don't see a lot of separation between these two teams in their current form. Essentially, if you look at the Chicago defense, they have been decimated by injuries at almost every single position. They still don't have an offensive line that can block. And realistically, on Sunday against the Ravens, they should have won the game. But at the same time, they made 2 plays the entire game. They just happened to be for like 80 yards apiece and for touchdowns. Now, maybe they can do that against Detroit. I don't think that Chicago will have an answer to the new formula that Detroit has concocted of run DeAndre Swift 30 times a game. I actually think that's effective for them, especially in terms of the cover. There's going to be a really fast game. It's going to be a ton of running. It might have a big play or two. Detroit's will almost inevitably come from Swift, unless Khalif Raymond can get one deep. And we know that the entire receiving core for the Bears are essentially just speedsters because Allen Robinson's probably not going to play, and even if he does, I think that does change the dynamic a little bit, only because he's like their one possession guy. But Mooney, deep guy. Marquise Goodwin, deep guy. Damiere Byrd, deep guy. If the Lions are sensible, they'll just play 2 deep, and Chicago will never move the ball unless they're doing it 4 yards at a time with David Montgomery. So slow-paced game, a lot of running, 2 bad teams overall. Like Chicago is much worse now than they even were like 3 weeks ago. Now if Field starts and, Allen Robinson plays, I might change my tune on this. This is why I want to see what happens before the inactives come out. But as it stands right now, I like Detroit to cover the 3.5. I think you'll probably get it at 4 at worst by the time Thursday comes around.
You made a great point in selling Detroit there on many aspects, and one where, I don't know, Detroit on the teaser seems pretty likable, 6.5 or whatever you get it to that 10.
Boyle. I rest my case.
Yeah, that's also another good case to be made. This sort of game, I don't know. I don't want to get my doors blown off me to start the day because then things can get real sloppy. So I always just tread water in these revolting Lions games. I don't have a lean here, and I don't want to start the day having to dig up.
Can you, is there a bet that we can make that there will be a defensive or special team score in this game? Because this game reeks of that.
I mean, probably.
Like
First,
every game.
Forward, other.
I look at that game I look at that odd in a lot of games, especially primetime games, just looking at the prop board. It never pays enough to make me want to pull the trigger. Like the anytime defensive or special teams touchdown. Obviously, they've got the hard data on it that it must come through one every like 1.9, 1.8 games, but the money is never enough for me to pull that trigger.
Imagine if you had bet that last night and you watched the Steelers not score on that block punt for no reason. How frustrating that would have been for you to hold that ticket and watch him just not score.
It'd be bad news if that's what you had. So Detroit for myself and the coin, Chicago for the two of you. Next game, Las Vegas and Dallas. Dallas, without Amari Cooper, probably no CeeDee Lamb, a banged-up Ezekiel Elliott, probably no Tyron Smith either. 7-point favorites at home against the Raiders, who are reeling at the moment. 51 is the over-under. How much do you think that people will be on the Raiders +7, Geoff? Because even though Dallas coming off a visibly bad performance against a shitty Chiefs defense, I think that without Smith on the offensive line, like they're a completely different offense.
Yeah, they looked like an out-of-sync team. A lot's being made, Pat, of all 6 teams that have games on Thanksgiving losing yesterday. Outside of Buffalo, they were all underdogs anyway, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
overblown. I will say Dallas not covering my 9-point teaser was heartbreaking, like heartbreaking. 5 or 6 times inside the 30 to score 9 points. Raiders, a total mess. I feel like they might have the Chiefs again up next also. Could be wrong.
I wouldn't really be too concerned about who the Raiders are playing next. Like they need to win now or they're finished.
No, you are right. It's actually Washington, then the Chiefs, but any team that can put the ball downfield. You find me the Raiders schedule and find me an opponent who can put the ball downfield who they played well against. I don't know. I don't see it.
Baltimore week 1.
But Baltimore wasn't, especially week 1, Baltimore was not a passing attack. There's still so many questions about Lamar's ability to throw and their receiving core.
No, that's fine. Fair. I love the game. Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, let you finish, Geoff. Go ahead.
I'm just so Dallas looked bad on national TV, but it just seemed like nothing could go right. Even holding the Chiefs to 16, getting the ball back continuously, forcing those turnovers. I don't know. I mean, they're a wounded dog, but so are the Raiders. I hate this game. I don't know. Give me the Raiders. It's a lot of points, I think.
I'm with you. I'm taking the Raiders +7 as well. I think the Raiders could win this game outright. And just Dallas seems so out of sync, but they're still in such a lofty position in the NFC East that it might not make that much of a difference unless Philly can really make a charge. And I'm not the hugest Philly believer at this point in time. Although this new, switching from the team that passed the most to the team that runs the most in football has really benefited them on the offensive side of the ball, and Hurts just continues to get better. And running all over the Saints is just not something I saw coming, obviously, as based on my super lock in Week 11. But this game, the biggest thing that you can kind of match up, and I guess if Smith comes back, I would probably change my tune on this, but Dallas couldn't block the Chiefs, who are not quite known for their pass rush this year. And still, without blitzing a ton, the Raiders still do possess the best pass rush in football. So what I see, even down your 2 best receivers, it's going to be a lot of short stuff to Schultz. They'll take a few shots with Malik Turner, a lot of short stuff to Cedric Wilson, a few shots downfield with Michael Gallup. But this is primarily going to be a banged up Zeke carrying the ball with not a ton of explosiveness. And then Pollard. If they use a ton of Pollard, I could see that working because the Raiders' run defense isn't very good. But the sneaky thing about Dallas is the defense is pretty good, but they're not very good against the run. And the Raiders are kind of jabronis and they'll just run it anyway. So that might actually be really effective. So I think, again, almost like game 1 on the Thanksgiving slate, this could be a really short game because the amount of running that you're going to see in it condenses the game. That always favors the team with the points. It's a lot of points. And I'm guessing that Dallas is still going to be the popular side in this. Do you think that we can get a 7.5 by the time Thursday comes around?
Probably. And good luck to you. I mean, I think the Raiders are basically the circumstance I think about the Raiders is basically what Krusty says to Bart after the "I didn't do it" thing stopped getting applause, where he says, "Oh, you're just finished. That's all." Raiders are just finished. We saw this 2 years ago. We saw this last year. Seeing it again this year. The circumstances are different, but the story is the same. The Raiders are perhaps the worst team in the NFL over the last 3 years in the second half of the season. They just don't win anymore. And they're done. They're just finished. They're a corpse.
What about that time that they beat the Jets in the second half of the season last year?
Yeah, that's true. It took a ridiculous 0 coverage blitz to beat a god-awful Jets team in December. Again, the Raiders are just finished. I think the spread is short. I like Dallas. It should be 8 or 9. I like Dallas here quite a bit. I'm not going to make Dallas a super lock for the week, but they would be very close to it. I think Dallas devours them. I mean, Dallas got blown up by Denver. Then they blew out Atlanta. Then they played a Chiefs team who the Chiefs are not back. The Chiefs the Chiefs destroyed a dead Raiders team and then scored no passing touchdowns and scored 19 points against the Cowboys at home. The Chiefs are still incredibly broken. The Cowboys didn't have the receivers, couldn't play at full tilt yesterday. But goodness gracious, the Raiders have got nothing. Nothing. They're done. Give me the Cowboys. They're the second part of the Pilgrim parlay. I think much needs to be said. I don't see a path for the Raiders here, short of Dallas turning the ball over a ton. I just don't see it.
They just feel out of sync to me. And maybe this is a complete get-right game for them, but I do think that the Raiders can employ a strategy very much like the Broncos did. Just a lot of pass rush, a lot of running, try to shorten the game that way, force a turnover or two, and just get Dallas reeling. And maybe I'm just completely off on this. It's hard for... After watching... Like Tennessee this year, in the two games where they've lost to Houston and the Jets, the biggest commonality was A.J. Brown got hurt in them. Like A.J. Brown didn't play against the Jets, and they didn't have Julio. Obviously, they didn't have Julio against the Texans. Marcus Johnson gets hurt really early, and then all of a sudden, A.J. Brown is out of the game for most of the game, and their offense just didn't work. Like, it is tough to overcome. Like, you're spending a lot of money on these two guys. CeeDee Lamb's a first-round pick, but a ton of money on Cooper. Like, they're legitimate impact players in the passing game. Like, teams can play you a lot differently. They can cheat a little bit more at trying to get Dak down. They can really try to focus on stopping the run up the middle or clogging Pollard on the outside. Just sometimes receiver injuries get a bit overlooked because, like, oh, next man up, he's going to have a 31. Like, that's a big thing in, like, the fantasy community, too. It's like, oh, well, Malik Turner's just going to step up, or Cedric Wilson's just going to run all the snaps, and he'll get 11 targets. Yeah, it's not the same as having Amari out there or having CeeDee Lamb out there. So
I agree with you, and I think that's very well said, and I think the fantasy community is wrong about that, and they're wrong about running backs not mattering sometimes, too. We're seeing that in Tennessee. It's paint-by-numbers analysis a lot of the time, so I think you make a very good point on that. But by the same token, I have Dak, and Dak is fine. And the Raiders, I think, are dead on arrival. And I can't put a dime behind the Raiders right now. So I've got to take the Cowboys.
Did either one of our cases sway you either way, or are you sticking with the Raiders, Geoff?
I could get swayed. I feel so vulnerable in all of these games. I could end up betting real money different from what I'm saying here as we record early. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas boat races them, but with the short week, down the weapons, I'm going to take the touchdown, hope the Raiders can keep it close enough and backdoor it for me. Dallas is deep.
I would say it's not, you probably don't even need a backdoor. I do think that Dallas wins this game, but this feels like because they play again next Thursday against the Saints. So they don't get like the full mini bye, as Tim likes to say. That comes in 2 weeks' time for them, that they could just kind of play a tread water game. Let's win by 3 or 4, try to survive. Now, you're right. The Dallas could most definitely blow them out, but it will probably come down to their defense.
Yeah, I don't know. Dallas has been just amazing with the turnover margins. I assume if it just works against them one game, then could be in trouble. I buy into the Raiders.
Defense, I mean, they had Mahomes looking terribly yesterday. Mahomes once again looked completely overmatched yesterday. If it comes out of the defense, then you gotta like Dallas.
Yeah, I don't know. Gus Bradley sucks. Like, I think he sucks, and he'll continue to get exposed as the season goes on. And the perfect remedy for getting the Chiefs right was honestly a date with Gus Bradley last Sunday.
Agreed.
Like, he plays right into everything the Chiefs do well. So it's almost like, listen, I'm one of those people that always feared the Chiefs. Even at their lowest, they were the team who I wasn't going to count them out till they were dead. That being said, I also don't want to overrate them being back because they dominated the shit out of Gus Bradley. And then, as Tim mentioned, struggled to score versus Dallas. That's another topic, though. I'm still going to take the Raiders. I hate this slate. I feel like I'm going to lose a lot of money on Thursday.
Don't bet. Just won't lose a dime.
You're going to say, just get blackout drunk and not wake up for the games.
Firstly, I got to wake up. It's not a holiday where we live. And that's not an option. I wish that was an option.
We are having, listen, I take Thanksgiving Thursday, although being Canadian, I should be working that day. I don't. I take it off because I want to watch the games and I don't want to have to do content that day for the games. I can come on Friday because most people, Americans at least, don't work on the Friday. I can go back to work Friday. Not a big deal. But Thursday always like since I think my first year of college has just been. I mean, we had a friend who skipped an exam to come, like a midterm exam, to come
Yep.
watch the football games. Not a great
Sure,
move.
I would do that.
He did not go back for the following semester or ever again to college. But I enjoyed that he was down to skip his midterm, maybe even 2 that day, to come just eat death wings and craziness and just get we didn't get blackout drunk. We drank a lot of draft beer that day. So with the setup that we have an inter-company type of gathering. There's a shocking amount of people in this industry, in this space, who now all live in the same area. Geoff, did you know this?
In your area?
Yeah.
Like a few. I don't know. Sure.
So we got Cust and I representing the Mayo Media Network. Tambo from Run Pure and the Mayo Media Network going to be coming in. We're going to be watching the games together. Meanie's going to be doing the drive-in after he does his live show. And as it turns out, Gilles Galin is also in the area from FTN. He's going to come over and watch the games too. It's going to be a party, a Canadian north of the border party as we watch these games.
Okay, good. I'm jealous, I guess. That sounds fun.
I mean, we need to get like a live stream on the go. Cust, don't curse those people, okay?
I have no comment.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
What are you doing there?
Trying to think. I wanted to say something, but yeah, I don't know. I've always degenerated. Oh yeah, these Thanksgiving days, many years in the last decade or so, I would go to Cam would host an event at a local watering hole. Like they'd pay him.
Was it
to
Shula's Joe's?
just like get on the
The
mic.
Wayne Gretzky's, which I was told was the epitome of Toronto cultural experience. Was
No one ever told you that.
That's
Ever.
what I heard. That Wayne Gretzky was like the place to go in Toronto.
No, it doesn't even exist anymore. And I don't think this bar does either, but Cam used to like give away jerseys and host at the bar, and he'd have a nice little like reserved area. So I'd be in the downtown core, and I'd usually head over and spend Thanksgiving with Cam. Good times.
That sounds fun. I mean, next year we'll have to fly you and Cam down because the studio's almost done. We can do the stuff live in the studio. It'd be pretty great. But this brings us to the midway point of the show, Tim, which means it's time for a Cust Corner mini.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner.
People have been providing ideas, whatever, for Thanksgiving, and I've we've done this show enough that I've given the definitive ranks of Thanksgiving foods, etc., etc. And I just wanted to spend this moment talking about one of the best parts about Thanksgiving, and this is true of Christmas too, I suppose, but something that's been lost in our culture. And I don't know whose fault it is, but I suspect it's millennials.
You're a millennial?
There's a real culture of people just not eating dinner at the table anymore. And it's very unfortunate. Like, it's now, listen, if you're if you're a single person or you're like hanging out with buddies watching a game, that's one thing. But it seems to me like the amount of people who seem to own dining room tables and never eat at them is like, it's an alarming rate. Like, there's something really nice to be said about being away from the television and distractions and wearing something nice and being at the dinner table and actually having dinner. And Thanksgiving provides that opportunity, which means when you go to dinner, don't wear t-shirts and a pair of shorts. Even though you might be more comfortable that way, as Polonius says in Hamlet, the clothes often proclaim the man, right? It doesn't mean you need to be in coat and tie, but wear something nice at the table.
Now, I have a question. Can I wear a t-shirt because I look good in whatever I wear? Like, if you're attractive, does that give you a pass on this? Like, if you're like kind of a dumpy looking person, you need to dress up to up your game. But if you're like if you're shaped like a mannequin, you can kind of wear anything. Is that fine? Because I would just rather wear a t-shirt.
Who wouldn't prefer to wear a t-shirt or pajama pants? But the thing is that you don't want, even
out of the two of us, who wears pajama pants more often, Tim? Outside.
I never wear them outside.
I've seen you wear them.
No.
You've come over to the headquarters in your pajamas.
Those are just sweats. Those are just sweats. But like at Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner or whatever, like, you don't want to act in a way that's contemptuous towards the day, even if you don't feel that way. And not dressing nicely, I think, is part of that. You know, Thanksgiving is an opportunity to be with friends and family and say grace and say what you're thankful for.
Don't push your religion on me, pal.
No, whether you're thankful for each other or family or the Lord God Almighty or to whom you give thanks, it's a special day, and you should treat it seriously. And part of the reason you treat it way in which you treat it seriously is you have dinner at the table and you wear something nice. And I feel very strongly that you should do that.
I have a question.
Fire away.
I mean, I don't disagree with you with the dress code. You should, if you're going, especially to someone else's place or you're hosting, you should put on for Thanksgiving.
Shirt, at least.
No, hold on. When I show up somewhere wearing this, for example, and you show up in your fancy clothes when you look like fucking Aladdin, people still think that I look more like put together than you do. It looks like you're wearing a costume.
Again, it's not the point. I think you're missing the point here.
No, I don't think that I am. You're supposed to dress respectful for the event, which I think that I'm doing. It's not like I'm putting on some bacon neck type shirt.
I'm not telling you you need to be in coat and tie either, but although that would be nice, and it certainly is nicer, but just wear a collared shirt and a nice pair of slacks. Like, that's all you need. It shows, even if they're not the most comfortable, so what? It's not all about your own personal millennial comfort at the moment. It's about
I don't know if I own slacks, as you would say.
Or, a pair of dress pants, whatever.
You own slacks. That's just a name. That's just a corny name.
No, I own dress pants that go with like suits. I don't own khakis. Does anyone own a pair of khakis anymore?
I do.
Well, of course you do. You own fucking corduroy. You own corduroy pants.
Corduroy pants are both very cool and comfortable. I like corduroys. But anyway, my point is people should be eating at the table more often. I feel very strongly about that.
How often do you eat at a table?
Not nearly enough. Not nearly.
Are you talking about Thanksgiving or in general?
Well, at Thanksgiving for sure. But
yeah, but let me ask you this. Like, I'll go to Thanksgiving or those sorts of events, or we would host
I've
it.
seen
Or my
some of the
aunt...
dinners you've gone to, Geoff, that are at tables, and they look immaculate. They're not being eaten on TV trays, watching
but that's
some third-rate television show.
Okay, but do you know the sort of space in that person's home?
I don't.
Do that?
I don't know the space.
Well, that's in it. Like most people, it's got to be sort of a buffet style because the dining room table can't sit the 12, 16 people.
I am pro table and think people should be eating at the table more. I think it's a tragedy that the table seems to have just become an artifact, except for like 2 days a year. It's unfortunate.
I eat at the table with my kids. I don't know what you're talking about.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
I eat at the table with my kids too. Like, who specifically are you talking about where you've noticed this? That people aren't eating at tables?
My perception is that people tend to watch television while they eat.
Because you do that?
Well, I do that because I'm a single person. But I imagine that there's a ton of people who just eat their dinner every night, like in front of the TV or like over the sink or standing up. And
how many people do you think are eating their dinner over a fucking sink?
I don't know. I'm certain that it happens.
Give me a percentage of people.
I don't know.
If you polled the people on Twitter right now, said, do you eat your dinner over the sink? What do you think you would get as a response?
5%.
Really?
I mean, I've done it. We've all done it more than once.
No, I don't think that we have. Don't lump your insanity in with us. Geoff, have you ever done that?
I don't even know. Like, what do you mean eating dinner?
Like, I've heated up a Hungry Man, taken it out of the microwave, turned around, eaten it over top of the sink. That's not uncommon.
That's not uncommon. That is not uncommon for like pathetic people.
It's not uncommon. It doesn't happen all the time, but like once a month or so.
Once a month?
Yeah, sure.
So you're encouraging all of us out there to sit at the table, dress up in a suit and tie as we go to dinner, and you're eating fucking TV dinners over a sink once a month. Thanks for the advice, pal.
I am a single person.
I've been a single person, most of my life, as it turns out. I've only been married for 5 years. Paul, you're currently a single person. Are you having very many meals over the sink? So if you're too drunk to make it to somewhere else.
Tim doesn't even get drunk.
Yeah, Tim doesn't get drunk. Yeah, no excuses.
It's just convenient that way, and anything drops or spills or whatever just drops in the sink. And what do you care? Right? Then you
How
just turn the
messy of
sink
an
on.
eater are you? So you're not even drunk and you're doing this, but you're spilling shit all over yourself? How do you spill a TV dinner on yourself?
It like falls from your fork or whatever. Like some of that stuff is crumbly and it doesn't stay very well. Anyway, we're getting
Yeah,
off.
it's called a placemat at the table.
Or a
Well,
plate?
yeah, but I'm late. But I'm lazy. And I'm a single person, so it doesn't matter. But I think I get the perception that there's a lot of people who just TV that meals get eaten in front of the television more often than they don't. And I think that it would be better for all of us if we ate at the table a lot more often.
So I don't think you're on par with that. I think you might be right that single people do this a lot, but that's never been my experience. And maybe I'm the one who's off. I usually eat at the
I don't
table.
think single people eat at the sink.
No, but like if I was single,
They might eat it.
like when I lived with Cody, for example. Like we rarely sat at we didn't really have a table. We had a big island in the middle of our condo because it was a pretty small condo. We'd usually make something and go sit on the couch and eat because that was our primary place to go eat.
For sure. And I'll admit, like, my wife will go out for dinner with her friends, and I'll be like, tonight I'm gonna go eat. There's like a smaller TV, like where in the kitchen. I guess that's not normal thing anymore. But I get excited to be, I'm eating alone tonight. Like I'm gonna bring my pizza into the living room and just sit on the couch and use the ottoman as my table, make a mess, and I don't know, use the if it gets too messy, use the little Dyson QuickTime. But I don't know. Over the sink, that's weird.
Yeah, I think your perception of how people eat are just based on you living by yourself. I do think that most people who live by themselves or eating by themselves eat that way. They probably don't eat at the table. But I think that any time
I'd be happy to be wrong. I'd be happy to be wrong. If you tell me that most people with families are eating at the table routinely, great. I would happily take that out, but I don't know that that's the case.
Pretty
Where
sure it
are
is.
you getting this from, though?
Can you point to one person with a family that doesn't eat at a table with their kids?
These are just perceptions that I have.
So no is the answer.
But anyway, this is just these are just the perception in my mind that most people are not eating at the table, that the table has become and that having a special dining room. Like if I were to design my own house, I would design a special room that's a dining room only with like a fancy table and chairs and no televisions and no distractions.
So you want the dining room at my grandma's house?
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. And I also like the traditional part of dinner where you don't talk a whole lot during dinner too, where it's mostly quiet, like the Von Trapps sort of in the Sound of Music. Like there isn't a lot of conversation at the table. But when there is, it's respectful and about interesting topics, but it's quiet. And everyone eats their meal, like at least Sunday dinner in the special dining room. Like that if I were designing a house, I would definitely have that. I think that
Where are you, the Reagans and Blue Bloods?
No, I just think there's something dignified about that.
Okay, yeah, that's like a very classical thing, and my parents have that, and a lot of people's parents have that. But I can tell you, when we bought the home in where we are in now, and sort of did the walkthrough before we made our offer, they had a room just like that, and we completely like blew the shit out of it and turned it into more of like a TV hangout area than the fancy mahogany filled.
Oh, see, that's exactly what I'm imagining is a mahogany table.
Yeah, of course. I know exactly what you're picturing. Everyone can picture it.
Everyone pictures it.
I don't think it's very hard.
I mean,
and there's probably like a mahogany cabinet filled with China.
Absolutely China.
Like,
yes. That's exactly what that to me is ideal.
How is it that all of your like perceptions about how things should be are legit the same as people who are 86 years old? Like,
no,
do you have a fleshlight of the Queen?
Oh, goodness.
No, Pat, it's all his grandma. Like, he likes this ice cream because this revolting fruit nut instead of chocolate because his grandma, or he likes this because that's how his grandma did it, which is nice and adorable in some way, but you're
insane.
Also old enough where like, let's get past some of these things.
Well, Tim was explaining to us as Paul was looking for a house around this area. He was telling us all the bad neighborhoods around the city. which were informed by his grandma that his grandma told him like 35 years ago.
It wasn't just me, by the way. I mean, you said right away that your dad said the exact same things.
It's true, but I know the difference. You don't.
Look, I'm just saying that I am pro dining room table. I'm pro dining rooms. I think they're nice. I think they're elegant. I think they're dignified. I like the fact they don't have televisions. They don't have radios. They don't have
They don't have radio. They don't have a transistor radio in them.
I wouldn't have a radio. In fact, I would have a.
Do you think a lot of people have fucking radios, Tim? What century is this?
And Tim,
and
what
I'd have
sort
a
of
bowl
high-end
inside
chandeliers do these rooms?
Yes,
need to have?
I would have a chandelier.
So what
above
you're
the
saying
table.
is that you want my dining room.
Yeah.
And I would also have a very nice bowl situated as soon as you walked in for you to place your cell phone in.
Yeah, no one's
so that
gonna
you don't
fucking
touch
do
it.
that.
No.
Yes,
Ugh.
You have a better chance of people putting their keys in there for a fucking swingers party than giving up their
no,
goddamn
you put your phone in there because that makes it an enjoyable experience for all.
And then
Nobody's
people have to
phone-
listen to you rant like this and be like, oh my
No, they don't
god,
have to
is there
listen.
another
I also-
bowl with a fucking gun in it so I can put it in my goddamn mouth? That's what they'd be
But
thinking.
Tim, you're also reminding me of like the worst meals at my parents' house or my
Yes.
grandparents' house or aunt's house. Like you're literally reminding me of like traumatic experiences, to be perfectly honest.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that those are traumatic for you. I'm saying that I don't think it has to be that way. I think having nice, dignified dinners where people dress up somewhat nicely and eat nice food in a room that's specially set aside for that purpose with fancy china and fancy silverware set up for that purpose there's something like, I don't know, that gilds life in a particular way. And I think we're missing out on that through the cut and thrust of everything. People are going to be on their phones 24/7, have to have the television blaring with us wherever they go. And I don't know, just we've lost something. And it doesn't
Well,
have to be that
how
way.
do you know if people have lost something or haven't lost anything?
Well, you just
apparently-
described that nobody wants houses anymore with specific dining rooms like that. That's just the thing people don't want anymore. Well, I think that's unfortunate.
Well,
I
maybe
don't know.
All be better off for it.
Maybe you should
Where
just
I
go.
live, where space is hard to come by,
you
there's
go.
just no room for an extra goddamn table
Well,
room.
perhaps it should take a little bit more priority over other things.
Tim,
Over what, Tim? Over what? Get rid of a room. Get rid of a room that
Well,
most people have in their house.
Jeff just said he destroyed a dining room so that he could have more room to watch television.
Well,
I
no,
would
and my
say-
kids can like, dude. There's also like the kid floor mat, like carpet, like sort of like it's not exactly like it's my room, pal. Like it's not my
Yeah,
escape room.
It's not like people raised kids for 700 years plus with homes that had specific.
I don't
dining
know, man. Tim, you
But
live by
our generation
yourself.
can't have
You
that.
have
Right? Like,
endless-
we know
you have
that.
a
Right?
house-
We
Oh,
know
so,
that.
so what you would say is, don't give your kids a playroom, beat them with spoons. That's your parenting advice?
Again, of course, I didn't say that.
Well,
And no fair-
everything else that you're taking is from 60 goddamn years ago, so we might as well just go
No.
with it.
Having a specific dining room that is set aside for you to have dinner once a week or twice a week or
Twice a
special
week?
occasion- once a week then on Sundays is well worth it. And I
Football
think
comes
the-
on Sundays, Tim. You don't even you don't do any of this shit, by the way.
I don't own a home or have a young family. No, but if I did, things would be different.
Maybe this is why you don't have a home or a young family.
I would like to bring this
Yeah,
around.
maybe.
I think maybe something that Tim might be touching on, but he didn't, that I would agree with him, even though he didn't say, is I do feel like, well, a lot of people eat at tables and not over sinks or the garbage can.
I've done that too.
They're not eating at the same time. Like,
True.
it's very plausible where my kids will eat at a separate time, my wife will eat at a separate time, and then I will eat at a separate time.
Yeah, but
The
that
synchronicity is necessary. At
What's
least
that?
occasionally. You need to have that synchronicity occasionally. And that Sunday.
I agree. And my wife
provide that
tries.
reset.
My wife tries to find it, but it's not on Sundays because I have a West Coast team.
No, but I mean, for you guys, it could be different. It could be Friday evenings. It could be whatever evening you want it to be, right? But I don't know. It's just a reset. I think it would be healthy for us as a society. That's what I think.
So essentially what you say is you don't want one of the people in the household working.
I didn't say that either.
Because
But I'm saying
that is the main reason that people eat. Like my wife and I eat out of sync all of the time. She has stuff that she has to do. I have stuff that I have to do. It doesn't necessarily mesh up at the same time. I'm working through dinner time a lot of the time.
She's hungry, she's gonna eat.
She's hungry, she's gonna eat. She has to feed she's gonna feed the kids at a certain time. I'm gonna feed the kids at a certain time if she's doing something else.
The real world intrudes on things for sure. But if you make a practice of trying to do once a week that everybody eats at the table at the same time, again, there's no great hardship, and I think actually could be conducive in a positive way. I think there's something nice about it. That's my position, and I will not be swayed from it.
So
I don't disagree, but
you have no experience with this. You're preaching about it, so you have no clue what you're talking about.
Growing up, I did, and it was nice. We had dinner at the table as a family almost every single night for a long time, and it was nice. Now, it didn't have to be every night, but when we could, we did, and it was really it was nice. It was something that I treasure, and I think that other people could miss out on the same experience.
Honestly, just to think about going back there and having just sitting in the middle of my mom and older sister yelling at each other.
Well, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate.
Oh my God.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
Well, you also have to remember, Tim, everyone in your family likes each other. Most families don't like each other.
Well, again, I can't speak to the dynamics that every family has. And look, every family has their quarrels and their stripes, but having the weekly or every other week or even monthly, dinner together that sort of resets things can't hurt. It can only help. It can only, cause roots to take hold. And it's just, and Thanksgiving connected is an opportunity to sort of practice that. Even if we only practice it once or twice a year, I guess, is a real opportunity to do so. And, if for nothing else, that recommends Thanksgiving to us.
Well, I guess this kind of goes back to the point of who do you think is hosting a Thanksgiving dinner and is not having people sit at a table as a family? Who do you think who is this person?
I can easily imagine.
No, people do buffet style.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do buffet style, but you can do the buffet style where the stuff is available because maybe you don't have a table big enough to fit all of the turkey, all of the stuffing, all of the whatever you have that it's on another table somewhere else, but you take your plate and go back to the table and eat it there. It's not like you're walking around like it's a fucking New Year's party and just eating your turkey like this.
It's usually, you're right, there is sort of the island where all the food is laid out and there's not enough room at one table, but people go to different spots and a lot of guys can set up and sit and sort of even bring the food together into the TVs if it's a lunch or thing tomorrow.
Let's put it this way. I've been to other Thanksgivings where people load up their plate, go to the couch and eat and don't. I've been to it. I've attended it. I've seen it. And so I can speak from firsthand experience that it's not always people being seated at a table. I've seen people lay down literally on the couch and eat their Thanksgiving turkey instead of being at the table. I've watched it happen.
Well, you got family that's really comfortable with each other. That sounds cute.
I've seen it. And I don't worry. Comments were made about it every single year. And I was part of the people making those comments about how I thought it was undignified. But
undignified.
And then I kept being called governor. Because apparently I was a very bossy child. So my nickname when I was little was Governor.
That tracks so much.
That was always my nickname.
We all know you as the queen. You're the queen of the Pat Mayo experience.
No, I am not. But that is what being a little boy, that's what I was called by that side of the family.
Why don't you host?
Yeah.
No. Well, one day, maybe. Sure. Yeah, but not right now.
And it's different for us versus an American Thanksgiving because I could see going to the couch to continue to watch football. Football's on.
Football comes and football goes.
You know what? You know what? Based on your once a week, everyone should sit down on fucking Sundays. You don't because you're watching fucking football.
Well, football's not on 2/3 of the year. And again, it doesn't have to be Sundays. I mean, Sundays make sense for a lot of reasons, but it may not work for you. It may be another day. Who cares? As long as people are making that habit, I think they would profit from it as a group.
I don't think that people aren't doing this as much as you think. I think that you're not doing it.
I hope you're right. I am willing to concede that I'm wrong about this. I'm sort of speculating based on what I think is the case.
Can you put out a Twitter poll about the eating over the sink thing?
Sure. I mean, but how should I word it?
Well, that's what we need to come up with here. Jeff, how do you think this tweet should be constructed? Poll, yes or no? Do you eat meals over the sink? Yes or no?
Do you
How
ever
often-
eat meals over the sink?
What's that?
Do you ever eat meals over the sink?
Yeah, do you eat meals over the sink?
Yeah, but that makes it sound like you eat every meal over the sink. We don't want to give that impression either.
Okay, you can in brackets you can put in minimum once a month.
Okay.
Because that was your standard.
Do you eat over the sink at least once a month?
Do you eat meals over the sink
Yeah,
at
do you
least
eat
once
meals
a
over
month?
the sink? Yeah, do you
Yes
eat
or no?
meals?
Put that up
Yeah.
for 24 hours and we will reveal the results on the next Spread Pick show.
Okay. I am sending that out just as we speak.
And you think you're going to get over 5% on that?
I think it's got a reasonable chance to track over 5%.
Well, is that minus your burners or with your burners?
I don't have any burners. All right, it's posted.
Excellent. I just retweeted it for you too. We'll see if we
Thank
can
you.
get that out there. That was a very fun, heated Cust Corner. That was a good one. I hope you bring some heat for the next show on this one.
I do. I had a disastrous experience today at the mall.
Were there too many? Were there the groupies, the mall groupies, trying to get some deals?
No, I had problems with the receipts that I got. Anyway, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Do you not
I was
have?
upset.
Do you not have every receipt saved on your phone like I do?
You know that I don't.
You should really get QuickBooks, pal, or receipt bank.
I don't know how to do those things. I know how to get the receipts. I know how to hold the receipts. I know how to show the receipts when I come to get my thing ordered into the mall for me. That's what I know how to do. That's who I am. Talk about it tomorrow.
Okay. Want to remind everyone, I just got it emailed to me as we were recording this. The Listeners League link is now available. It's down in the description. That is for the main slate this week on DraftKings. Only 2,000 spots. I made it smaller because people will forget because it's Thanksgiving. They got other stuff to do. But you can go get into that right now and reserve your spot. That's down in the description. And I do want to remind everyone, what?
People are already responding with, what kind of an insane tweet is this?
Somebody needs to lock this guy up. That's the first response I see. Do you think they mean in jail or an insane asylum?
Don't know.
Additionally, you could really help out Mayo Media Network by making a deposit on prizepicks.com using code MMN. You'll get a deposit match of up to $100. And if you play a $7.11 entry on the Sunday or Thursday and Sunday games, 5 picks, $7.11. You'll win 10 times your money if you go 5 of 5, and you'll get a $50 bonus. Plus, we have a huge thing lined up for the playoffs this year. Playoffs in football with a brand new contest with big prizes to be won. So you might as well get in, get experience with prizepicks.com right now. Code MMN. You're an animal, says EPAT.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know that Paul's basically 80-20 right now. So
It's very early, sir.
I'm going to get that 5%.
You might get the 5%. Although you can see people's visceral reactions to it.
It's like, as if they know what the position is, not having listened to the show.
They don't have to know. They're like, that's pretty weird. Tim must be claiming. Tim
It's like
must
when
have
we
said
go out to
something
dinner, and one of
insane.
my friends will always say, "What's the worst thing on this menu?" Because that's what I think you'll pick.
They wouldn't be wrong. Although you have been upping your meal selection lately. Like when you got the Cornish game that time. That would look delicious.
It was absolutely delicious, I have to say.
Tim eats
But the
fancy now, Jeff. Did you know that?
The fork was a bit big. I
Yeah,
felt
no,
like they
that's-
have more of a poultry fork for it, but
Yeah, how do I put that? I've had that before, and I would say as like an immature eater like myself, the Cornish game, like they make it sound like it's something way fancier,
Yeah, it's like chicken.
yeah.
or like then it really is. There's something way more exotic, but it's yummy. I enjoy it.
Indeed.
Bills at Saints. Saints are reeling, coming off 3 straight losses now. They are 4.5-point dogs at home. 46.5 is the over-under. Bills also reeling, have not looked good at all recently. I don't know what to make of this game because it feels like the Bills could rout the Saints a lot like the Eagles did. But I don't know. Do I want to abandon the Saints, Jeff, after they let me down once? This is still an underdog spot for the Saints. We're getting more than a field goal now. And the Bills have just not looked impressive at all over the past. I mean, they blew out the Jets. Great. Good for them. They look bad against the Dolphins. They look bad against the Jags. They look bad against the Colts. And you know that regardless of who's playing running back, whether Kamara is back or not, Saints are going to be able to run on the Bills. You can run on the Bills if you have any sort of semblance of a good run game, which the Saints do. So I think I like the Saints plus 4.5.
I am leaning Buffalo, although like a lot of people, the questions are quite intense about Buffalo. And you almost feel for Bills fans because this was supposed to be sort of like a year where, how do I put this? The competition wasn't really going to be there to make them sweat yet. Like last year was a total Patriots restart. Now the Bills are like 3-4 years into their hardened program, and the Patriots are supposed to be at phase 1, and it's like, oh my God, it's happening again. Like, yes, it's happening again for all of us in the league, in the American Football Conference, but specifically for the Mafia. And it's an ugly 6-4. It lacks quality wins. There are questionable wins against really bad football teams, and they've beaten the shit out of some lower lights. They've had a pretty soft schedule outside of a game, I'd say, versus like a Tennessee whose record would inflate the Bills' schedule. But I'm not gonna back off them. New Orleans is now getting bitten with injuries like left, right, and center, key pieces to the line. Give me the Bills. Talent prevails here. Talent prevails. It's got to.
It feels like a get right spot for the Bills. However, even if they lose this game, they can just sweep the Patriots and all will kind of be forgotten because they'll still end up winning the division. That weirdly, this game doesn't mean as much to them as it does to the Saints. Like the Saints are now at a point where, another loss, they're out of the playoffs all of a sudden after being like a 70% chance to make the playoffs as of 3 weeks ago. They need to get this back together. And I think that maybe Simeon's just not up to the task. I mean, this team is not up to the task, but I think that Peyton's got a few things left in his arsenal. And on a short week, while I like McDermott as a coach, I think he's very good. I think that Peyton can scheme an offense that he knows that could potentially work here. Do you think we'll get Taysom Hill eventually? Like, we have to, right?
Yeah,
like
we could.
Paying him
Hold on, before
right?
the Mean Girl gets going, because I hear Mean Girl like cackling in the background.
I was laughing at some Twitter comments. Somebody said, "What's he going to consider a victory in this poll? 5%?" Like that's exactly what
little do they know.
Someone
I'll let Tim
predict. I'm predictable. I'm not that predictable.
Oh, sorry. I just heard you Mean Girl laughing in the corner as we're talking about the Bills. And
I thought I was on mute. I'm sorry.
Someone did respond yes to this poll, but said only when I'm single and depressed at the same time.
Well, just saying the number keeps growing for me. But anyway, I don't want to take away.
I would be, not to make like a Bill fan paranoid, but I would argue the worst possible matchups before they're playing the Patriots, which I believe is next week, would probably be a Frank Wright and Sean Payton team. Like what Frank Wright did yesterday, Bill Belichick and McDaniels are probably like, yeah, we can do that. No, they might not have they don't have a Jonathan Taylor, like the 20-yard runs or the big runs might not go for 20. They might go for 12. But if anything, the Patriots will just turn that to more cuts by like death by 1,000 paper cuts, as opposed to some quicker ones that Jonathan Taylor was able to dish out. Did you see Frank Wright said, it was in the Peter King piece in the Monday Morning. He told himself in that game that he is not, almost in like the first half, that he's not going to pass on first or second down for the rest of the game. He actually went, there was only 1 second down in that entire game after the point he told himself that, where he felt he should pass. Like they just bullied the Bills. And it's hard to think the Patriots can't do that. And then you're going to throw on to this a Sean Payton run scheme this week. But I'm taking the Bills this week. But man, Oh, they better. They better. And I don't even know if like a throttling will change my opinion of how the Patriot game could go in a couple weeks.
I
But
think
I do think
I weirdly
they win this one.
I think that the Bills match up a lot better against the Patriots than a lot of people do. I think that their vertical passing game is going to work really, really well if the Bills can just keep them out of the backfield. The biggest problem has been this offensive line over the past little bit, that just Josh Allen's under constant duress and he's not holding up well. You would think that he'd run more, but he hasn't been running more, which is really strange to me. Maybe he's trying to keep himself healthy, but if this is going to be the way that defenses play the Bills, he should be running like 14 times a game.
Yeah, I don't disagree. The Bills are going to win this week, and I think the Patriots are going to kick the snot out of the Titans. So we're going to have a great, I'm already hyped for.
Oh no, this is such a good Titans pivot spot coming off a loss to Houston.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. They're finally going to lose to a good team, guaranteed. Well, I don't want to guarantee anything. My guarantees are shit, but no. Shit's about to catch up to them real. Most turnovers in the league, Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, well, when you throw 8 against Houston, it's going to really inflate your number. And that's not necessarily fair, as Zach Wilson hasn't played in 6 weeks.
Yeah, funny stuff. Funny stuff.
All right, Mean Girl.
Yeah, I've had a theory of the case for the Buffalo Bills all year that they play well against teams they can bully, and tough-nosed teams push them around because they are sort of a softer, more finesse team. Indianapolis is a hard-nosed, tough team. The Bills stood no chance. The Saints are not a tough-nosed team. The Saints are a wounded team. We're getting to the point now that we have to start thinking about what are the teams. My team can't make the playoffs, so now it's just about me wanting the most exciting and interesting playoffs possible. And what teams do we need to be hoping get in, and which ones do we not want to let in? Like the Saints and Panthers, we want nowhere near the playoffs because they're just dead teams walking and aren't interesting or fun to watch. So we kind of need the Saints to get out of here and lose this game. And the Bills should have no trouble with New Orleans. I think being indoors on a fast track, that helps a finesse speed team like the Bills. I think Diggs has a huge game. I don't think New Orleans will be able to contain him. I think they're going to play a lot of the game under the shotgun. You talked about the first 2 games being short games. I think this one is going to be filled with passes and not a short game.
Agreed.
I think this will be it'd be an interesting game. I just don't think the Saints can hang with Buffalo, and they can't do the things that Indianapolis or even Jacksonville did defensively to keep Buffalo from scoring from depth and having long drives. So, yeah, I like the Bills. The Bills are the third part of the PILGRAM parlay, and I like them to cover the number as well.
Now, you say that you don't think that the Saints can do that. The Saints have the second best defense in football.
I just watched Philadelphia push them around, and Philly's not that impressive. Philadelphia pushed them around.
But how did Philadelphia do it?
They did it with quarterback runs and
running. With
running.
2 running backs and quarterback runs the entire time. Buffalo doesn't run the ball at all.
Well, they don't, but they don't need to run the ball effectively. I just don't think the Saints pass rush is going to get in there. I don't think the Saints are going to be able to bludgeon Buffalo the way that teams who have beaten Buffalo have done. I'm sorry. I just don't see. I don't see the Saints in that caliber of team. And the Falcons out-muscled them a couple of weeks ago. And the Falcons are terrible. But yet the Falcons found a way to do it. The Titans, without anybody who can even play running back, was able to beat them last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Like, I'm not impressed with this New Orleans on either side of the ball. I don't think they're a tough team. And I expect, because of that, Buffalo to take care of them rather handily.
I think these are 2 pretty evenly matched teams. Obviously, the offense is definitely going to go to Buffalo in this, and the best player on the field is on Buffalo. But 4.5 points is a lot for a home team on a short week. I think that really does make a difference. I mean, I can definitely see the Bills winning, obviously. I could see them winning by 40 points because they're that type of team. But if they don't have it going early on, this is going to be a slog type game for the Buffalo offense where it's maddening the entire time. And even we were watching that Bills game this week, like the Colts could have had like 4 more turnovers.
Oh, no question. The Colts had their number, and the Colts almost beat them last year in the playoffs. Like, the Colts are a good matchup for Buffalo. I don't think the Saints are.
And Buffalo is interesting, right? You've already broken it down, but it's so weird to think of a team out of Buffalo that, it's literally like the road to the Super Bowl was going to go through Buffalo. and now it doesn't really feel like that way at all. And you can make the case Buffalo having to play home games in Buffalo in December and January is the worst thing for
Agreed.
Buffalo's
It'd be
style.
much better to go indoors or go to Nashville.
And
or,
I even made the comment a week ago, and listen, that AFC is wide open, and you can make the playoffs, you can miss it. It's a whole jumble. Although the Chargers, I'm happy to see sit like 71% probability. But I said to you guys a week ago, and last week's football kind of emboldened my stance that, the Chargers who can't stop it. Well, you know what? I don't even want to talk about it.
But imagine the Chargers going to Orchard Park. That's a pretty good draw.
I'm saying the Chargers, like I would feel
love that.
more advantageous about having to play a Buffalo or a Kansas City than an Indianapolis. But the Chargers are so flawed. And the sad thing about the game versus Pittsburgh is their run defense played well enough, but it literally did something going forward where it might have actually exposed how bad the secondary is. Like before, teams could just run and they'd milk the clock and run. But I think over the last couple of weeks, teams are realizing, no, we don't need to do that to beat the Chargers. We could just pass all over these freaking guys also. So honestly, I'll say at this moment, I don't think any matchup is good for the Chargers. I take that all back.
The best matchup for the Chargers is just getting shootouts. I feel like they're going to win every shootout.
The Chiefs. Chiefs are their best matchup.
Let's boat race. But I don't like if you want to spend 8 minutes with the football, because that means my margin for error is so slim.
And look, we're all about the Miami Dolphins making the playoffs now too. So maybe the Chargers. People have gone crazy about it.
Yeah, well, we watched the game with our Dolphins friend who basically just repeated Tim's lines about the Jets, but about the Dolphins back at him. And Tim the entire game was like, "See, you were saying it too." And like, no, we're just doing a you impression, you moron. And then
the Dolphins have like a 0.9% chance of being the 7 seed. Like they're like, what are you talking about?
They have a really soft schedule.
He sent us 2 articles proclaiming the Jets or the Dolphins were going to make the playoffs, where in both of those articles, it said they had a less than 1% chance of making it. But he's like, see, people are pumped.
They are pumped.
Live in your truth. Once again, like people don't own tables. Here is maybe the biggest thing. And I know this is something you always like to look at, Tim, which I'm surprised you never brought up. Where do you think that the Bills rank in special teams this year?
First or second?
They are 4th worst.
Yeah, is that so? They're that bad, are they?
Where do you think that the Saints rank in special teams?
I assume pretty highly. If you
number 1.
Yeah, and listen, that stuff matters. I agree with you.
Yeah,
that stuff is huge. As Geoff in special teams,
no, especially for just getting a cover.
Yeah, like
Pat 4.5 points. Those extra
Critical.
12, 15.
Critical.
9 yards, that puts you into field goal range.
Yeah,
those nibbles, they all.
Yeah, there's a much stronger case of the 3 underdogs to cover. I think the strongest case is for New Orleans, for sure.
But
I would actually say the strongest case is probably Detroit, because Chicago might be just as bad as Detroit.
No, they're not that. They're not that. They've shown flashes of brilliance this year. Detroit is not.
I would argue New Orleans is the game that I would have the least desire to say put on a teaser, because the Bills have this ability. At least with Oakland, I can get it to 14.
Correct.
And you'd hope that back door would kind of live. Buffalo has shown this ability, especially if you do feel like the Saints are beaten up and hard down arrow, they could win this thing. I mean, they've shown how they win football games when they win them.
That's absolutely true. But I think Buffalo is a team built for a soft indoors dome, and they get that this week.
Well, if that's the case, you could bet Saints money line at plus 180. Then you could do the other way on it too, and just say like Bills alt spread minus 17 or something like that. And just at plus 210, and hopefully that one of those, because those feel like the extremes of this game.
It's a good game to hedge on if you've got a 3-teamer going into the last game. There's a lot of hedge possibilities.
Yeah, but what are you going to hedge out on? Your parlay pays 2-1.
Yeah, a little better than 2-1.
Well, it's 2 plus 223. No one's hedging out on that. This isn't like a fucking 90-1 golf bet.
No, that's true. But you could start tonight and just add Tampa to it, and then you can really juice it up, right? So
by the time It's going to be awesome when people listen to this and Tampa hasn't won. Although your money line teaser with Tampa on it has already busted, so they're free to win all they want.
That's true.
You know what I'm going to put on some bets on Thursday?
Bryson.
Bryson.
Yes, I knew you were going to say
To
that.
beat Brooks at like 120. I'll throw that onto a part
It's
on
what,
my
an 11-hole or
parlay.
12-hole contest?
I don't know. It's 12 holes, but how do I put this? It's match play. So Bryson can try to do his crazy things. And if he makes a triple bogey, who cares? Down a hole. He'll do it again on the next hole and he'll win.
I agree with you. Bryson is the way to play that.
I agree, too. He's minus 125 right now. The problem is if he doesn't have it that day, it's going to be a real problem because he'll lose like 5 holes in a row. Although Brooks just doesn't seem like he has it at all. I could honestly see Brooks tanking these swing season events to come in as like an underdog against Bryson and beat the shit out of him because that's something that he would do.
Yeah, but there's no big underdog. Like, it's not like the line's going to go crazy. I don't know.
No,
Brooks,
but I mean, there's as a betting underdog, you're correct. Plus 105 at DraftKings Sportsbook right now for Brooks. So he's not a huge underdog, but the perception of him coming into this event from anyone who's been following golf is like Brooks has a lot, like he's out of sorts right now. Then he'll go out and win like it's the first 7 holes and just like, fooled you.
And there's also the notion of Brooks off miscuts versus Bryson, who hasn't played in a tournament since the Tour Championship. But we all know Bryson isn't a guy that like is going to Mexico to drink Mai Tais. He's probably just been fine tuning his whole game in his lab. Like he doesn't strike me as a guy that does vacation for more than 12 hours. What I'm most looking forward to though, Pat, is Brooks is smart enough to have hired a couple like late night TV joke writers to give him some good zingers.
Oh yeah.
Well, Bryson's probably literally just bringing his own homemade jokes. Like
I love
his
it.
own head.
This is why I love Bryson.
They'll be so corny. You'll have to rewind. And be like, did he just say that? Like, let's go back and hear that again.
Yeah, like Bryson is must-see TV. I just can't get enough of Bryson. His antics. He's as close to Happy Gilmore as we're getting. He's like the uncool Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, I guess so. I will say they missed like the bubble on this being like feeling confrontational. Like
they should have done this the Tuesday after the PGA Championship.
Yeah.
Just said, fuck the next week. We're playing each other. We're going to film it. Don't worry about it.
Now I bet you they'll play in the President's Cup together.
I don't know if we're there, but we'll see.
I actually think they would be a really good match play team, like a 4-ball team.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, no, we kind of broke that down before, but we'll see. I listen, I think what happened at the Ryder Cup kind of showed that Bryson is probably more favorable for pairings than people like wanted to perceive him as.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I agree with that.
Someone has said, does Tim have to go around to all of his neighbors' houses and let them know he's living in their neighborhood every time he moves? Seems like a very dangerous yet soft person.
What a terrible thing for that person to write.
I don't know. Just because you're a crazy person, not because you're some sort of offender. You're a crazy offender.
That poll continues to do well. There's almost 1,000 votes in and 17%.
Well, the last time you checked in, you were just bragging that it was 19%, so it's going down.
Yeah, but like it basically hasn't moved.
It's gone down 2 percentage points,
which is nothing. It's when I'm that far over the winning line, and it's sort of solidified. There's no chance it can get below 5% now. I don't think.
Well, I don't know about that. We'll see. And you might be right that it might not go below 5%, but this has just revealed a lot about the audience of both this show.
What it shows is that the you don't quite know the commoners the way I do.
I didn't realize there's so many depressed people watching this show. I guess they need the
I don't
laugh.
feel depressed. I don't feel depressed. I just enjoy not having to waste the paper towel or the plate and just eating over the sink.
You mean your paper plate? Or your what? Your one plate? Your one plate or your collection of paper plates?
I have so many more accoutrements for my Nespresso now than I do plates and other things. I picked up some more espresso accoutrements today. It was great. Oh, I told you that. I picked up the spoons. I picked up some double glass cups too. And that way I can see all the fancy layers that I'm making.
You're also corporate America loves you because you're these you're one of those marks that take their email newsletters and they make you feel special.
They
Like
do.
you're getting when it says like exclusive deal.
Yes, that's me. I want those emails. I want to be in on the ground floor. Oh, you think you're too good for that? Okay, well, that's fine. Then you miss out on all the hot deals. Then you don't know when sales are coming.
I've had to hand over my email for plenty of things. I'm on plenty of lists as such.
And I like that. I like being given all those. I like getting those emails. It makes me feel special. It makes me feel like they want my patronage and that they're going to give me some interesting deals. And I like to know about them. It's like getting a flyer, but delivered to my phone automatically. I'm not one of these people who's like, oh man, I have so many emails from all these companies. It's like, well, I want to buy things from these places. So I want to know what the new offerings are so I can purchase them.
It's like I saw Paul checking the flyers today at the grocery store. And I made mention to Paul, I was like, just because it's in a flyer doesn't mean it's actually on sale. It just means they want to get rid of what it is.
It's also brands pay for promotion, right? In the flyer.
Correct.
And what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
No,
you think that you're getting you think that it's on sale, but it's not actually on sale. They're just promoting
I
it.
learned from a young age, the first thing you do when you walk in the grocery store is you grab the flyer and you look through it and you find out what's on sale.
Yeah, but you have previously admitted you don't know what anything costs.
No, but I assume if it's being advertised in big numbers that people who do know what it should cost realize what a good deal it is.
No, most people are like you.
Most people don't know what anything costs?
No.
Is that true? You're right. I don't know. If you asked me, I just said to you, we should play a game on this show sometime when we have time. It's just, what does it cost? And like, we can all guess how much a can of Campbell's soup costs these days, or how much
89 cents.
I would have guessed $4. So if that's true, then
what? $4?
It's cheap. It's a can of soup. Like, you're getting a meal out of it. Like, yeah, $4 seems reasonable.
It's less than $1.
Like, no way. Or like, I don't know, like how much a dozen roses cost, or whatever.
Well,
right?
It depends on the quality of the roses. With that could really range.
Yeah, nice ones. I assume it's like what, $300-400.
A dozen roses?
Or a dozen roses.
$60.
I see you've given out a lot of roses at Valentine's Day, Tim.
True.
Fair.
Oh, listen, there's this place that I think there's this place near me that I always think charges me way too much, but no, it's like...
Is it a florist? Like a local florist?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they probably are charging you too much, but they probably charge like the Tims of the world 3 times that amount.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I just look at the floral arrangement that I would want, like for Mother's Day or whatever. Just, oh, this is nice. I don't even look at the price. I just buy it.
Okay, when was the last time you spent $300 on a bouquet of roses?
I don't know. I don't usually buy roses. That's why I just threw it out there, or something random. Like, I don't know what, but it would be fun to play a game on this show where like we have to guess what things cost. And I bet you we'd all be way off on a lot of things.
No, you just guessed 4 times for soup and like 6 times for flowers.
Okay, but there may be other things you completely just don't know what it costs. So
what do you think a run-of-the-mill average humidifier costs?
A humidifier. Okay. $500. $4.99. That's probably what I would pay for a humidifier, I guess.
You would pay
You run it all the time.
You say $599 or $500 or 99?
No, like $4.99.
All right.
You think it's a super
like an average one's like $75.
What? Really? A humidifier, like the machine that like constantly is like putting humidity and water into your air, and like you're always filling up, and say with is a dehumidifier that cheap too?
No, dehumidifiers are more.
More. That one I
That would
actually
be like
got
$400 or
on sale.
$500?
That was like $2.99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say, I bought mine for like $275. These are in Canadian dollars, by the way, if people are wondering.
That's interesting. I would not have guessed that.
You think that everything is 5 times as expensive or more than it is?
Tim,
Yes.
you thinking roses, a dozen roses costs like $350?
Nice roses now, not like with the thorns on them and the full stems, and you get the vase to go with, and the flower feed or whatever. That seems reasonable. I mean, what's that a rose? Like what? What's 300 divided by 12?
26.
Well, I'm saying, what are you going by? They're like the guys that hand out single roses like downtown.
Yeah, it's like $25, $26 a rose. Yeah, that seems like doesn't seem like an unreasonable amount. How much
you think that the homeless guy going from table to table at restaurants downtown selling single roses is the barometer of how much roses just cost?
You don't think people are giving him a 20 to take a rose?
I don't think that people are giving him anything.
Okay, but those who are purchasing them, you don't think they're giving him a $20 bill for a rose? I think they are. I think that's what I would give.
I think he sells them for like $5 each.
Well, I don't know. I can't speak to their quality, I guess. But anyway, it just seems so. Yeah, okay. Maybe again, I'm not a florist, so I don't know what that should cost. So I don't. Maybe it should only be like $100.
What's a 12-pack of DC cost?
It depends whether you get it on sale or whether you buy it not on sale like a fool.
Not on sale.
Not on sale. I think last I looked, it was $6.49 for a 12-pack.
And then what's like on sale?
Like $4.99. $4.99. You can even find them at $3.99. But I buy the pallets at Costco more often, which were $10.32, I believe, last time I was there, 10 something.
For how many?
For 32.
But that also includes $3.20 of deposit fee.
Yes, well, of course.
Yeah,
so
that's a part of the price here, at least.
Yeah, no, that's certainly correct. Yeah, I mean, I obviously know what that is. I buy it all the time. I can tell you what a pack of my brand of cigarettes costs too, because I buy them all the time. But the things that anyway, it would be interesting to play the game of how much does X, Y, or Z cost, because I bet you there are things that you have no idea what they cost.
There is 100% you are correct about that. However, when it comes to just general things, I think that Geoff and I might kind of pound you in this one, pal.
Maybe. Like, I bet you if we went to Home Depot, you'd have no idea how much a piece of wood would cost, or...
What kind of wood is it? How much of it am I buying? Am I buying it in bulk? Because I would get it for cheaper if I bought it in bulk. Am I getting it delivered? Am I picking it up from there? There's a lot of contingencies on some of these things that are kind of abstract when you say, how much does wood cost?
Yeah, okay, fair, fine.
You didn't even think of any of those things before you said wood, did you?
No, I didn't. I was just coming up with...
You've never bought wood before, have you?
I don't think that I have.
See, that's the thing. Geoff and I have bought things in our lives. Besides the same 3 things that happen all the time.
Like, I can tell you how much scratchers are.
Of course. Of course you can. It's like when you thought that
I can tell you how much a coffee at Tim Hortons cost.
You thought that a phone charger that you could plug into your car was $200.
I did. I was shocked that you could get it for like $8. Shocked.
All these rumors, Pat, and documentation of inflation, Tim doesn't know any.
No, Tim's like, stuff couldn't be cheaper right now based on what I thought stuff cost.
Look, I admit that I don't know what everything costs, but I think we're all guilty of that.
Okay. Rate, review, and subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast.
5 stars.
On Apple Podcasts. 5 stars, something you enjoy about the show, Twitter handle or email. It'll get you into a draw of 1 of 3 prizes for $100. We'll give that on next week's show. I did want to circle back to the Bills for a second. And Geoff, I mean, Tim's probably not the right person to ask about this, although he did predict the Super Bowl matchup last year, so maybe you are. Looking at
looking good this year.
Looking at the odds right now for the Super Bowl, actually think tough matchup here. I think the Bills are kind of like the Chiefs from 2 years ago, where they had this like little malaise. Everyone kind of not necessarily gave up on them, but they're like, don't really like this. The Chiefs dropped to as low as 14-1 mid-season, the year that like Mahomes was hurt, then he came back and wasn't all that great. And they were like, oh yeah, they're fine, but they're not going to do anything. It was like, oh shit. And then all of a sudden they were like 2-1 to win the Super Bowl. I think the Bills can kind of do that. They're getting cold at the right time of the season where there's still enough time to turn everything around and really build that momentum, a lot like Tampa did last year, the year that the Packers won with Aaron Rodgers. We've seen the Giants do this. This seems to be like a trend for Super Bowl teams where you kind of start out a little bit hot, mid-season malaise, pick it up right before the playoffs, and just kind of run train through the playoffs. It's one of my fears about like if you're really into the Patriots that they may have peaked too early because this is sort of like the peak of their powers here.
I'm all about saying the team that wins the Super Bowl hasn't peaked yet. And I don't think, to your point, Pat, like a couple of blowout victories versus the Dolphins and Jets and the Texans in October, November constitutes the Bills' high watermark of the season. So I agree with pretty much everything you are saying, other than I don't think there was a moment when the Chiefs were malaising that we got to a double-digit week where they were no longer in first place in their division. I'm sure the Chargers were nut-lowing, and I'm sure the Broncos and Raiders, you know, were treading water as well. So doesn't feel like this, and which is totally fair. And I just sort of, in fair or not, kind of, I feel bad, but I'm saying it in a sense where I'm picking on the Bills fan and just the psychology of all of this. Like, they are supposed to be the freight train.
Yeah, but this is good. But this is good for the Bills, though. Take your shit kicking now. You're no longer you're no longer the team that's supposed to win. Then you get back into that underdog role where you're way better, and they do have the talent to actually do it. So this could be the biggest blessing in disguise.
Agreed. But there's not a team in football who is more like. Firstly, all this, the Patriots are coming. The Patriots are coming. Like, shut up.
Patriots are here.
Yeah, the Patriots are goddamn here. What are you talking about? Like, they are here. And while, like, the rest of the league, myself included, as a team that got beaten by them a couple weeks ago, we're just watching in amazement in some regards. The Bills are the one team that are like, oh my God. Like, what on earth is happening, and how did this happen this quick? So it's just from that standpoint. But you are 100% right that in turn all their goals are still in front of them, and how it sets up from a psychological standpoint probably sets up very well. I always like seeing teams get punched in the mouth and then coming back. I never like seeing that golfer that I've bet on be in first place, but he hasn't been punched in the mouth yet on the weekend.
Sure, like, but I think you can make this exact same argument if you take out the word Bills and you plug in the word Cowboys, you plug in the word Chiefs, if you plug in the word Rams.
Sure, that's wide open.
You know what? Rams, I would actually 100% agree with. I think that the Rams are becoming the NFC version of the Bills right now.
Good. Makes sense.
Like at the start of the year, I picked Ravens Rams as my Super Bowl pick. I feel really good about that. I think I've got 2 live cards and I'm all in with them.
You do have 2 live cards. I don't know if I'd want to be all in with them.
I think I picked Chiefs Cardinals.
I still have my problems with the Cardinals, but
yeah, no, they're flawed.
Listen,
I see on DraftKings they're plus 200 to have the most regular season wins. I just don't think that's going to win.
We've got 6 bad teams. We've got like 22 good teams. And from that, there are teams that have the potential to be frisky. And then there's like 4 teams that are like, I don't know, I really do expect this team to be really good in the end. It's fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, and maybe the Bills luck into that circumstance where, like, do you think that the Bills have a better shot of beating Indianapolis and Buffalo or in Indianapolis?
Obviously in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, for sure.
So being like,
but I'm just wanted to know
like
if
the 6
Tim,
seed, 5 seed might actually work to their benefit.
Absolutely,
maybe.
I think it could.
I mean, for all the talk of the Mafia and that being a place, the team is obviously more constructed to go on the road. Tim, I was just wondering, has ESPN uploaded their 2022 playoff generator?
Yes.
Can you still, because you can't play 2021s anymore.
The 2022's playoff generator is there, but they haven't got the week 18 part figured out yet. So it's not really usable.
See, I was making a joke because there's no schedule for it. You're like, because you can't play away to get the Jets in the playoffs because you're part of those team.
Oh,
like there's so few teams in the league that are not part of this fun.
I see what you're saying. I thought when you meant 2022, you meant like January 2022. I'm sorry. You're right. I don't have time to watch. I'll be watching Salah's press conference later today. That's how I'll fill my time.
And I'll be reading a transcript in little point form notes from my athletic beat reporter.
Well, I guess it's the same thing. I guess we both get what we want then.
So to recap, before we get out of here, Chicago, Dallas, Bills money line is the Pilgrim parlay at plus 223, Tim?
It sure is, partner.
Now, you know what we should, you know how like if you ever listen to like Simmons' show that he gets like his sponsor to boost odds? We should get an odds boost for Cust free money picks of the week, Geoff. DraftKings should really do that for us.
Agree. But wait, so Cust Thanksgiving like Chalk Daddy parlay?
Yeah. Every
Whatever,
favorite,
man.
Every favorite on the money line. Hey, that's probably the best way to play. I mean, I took all 3 dogs on the spread, but I don't hate this. Like, I'm not playing it. I mean, would you rather? What do you think is more likely to happen? Geoff, I'll throw this one to you because obviously Tim thinks this one's going to happen. He's playing a 3-leg money line parlay. But is it more likely that all 3 of those games win or the Raiders win? Because that's the same odds.
I don't hate Tim's parlay either, as much as I took a shot.
Everyone, listen, this is going to be the parlay of Thanksgiving. Like, it is. This is what people are going to play.
Yeah, I could even make that parlay without the first game.
Just go Cowboys, Bills. That would pay even money, plus 103.
Yeah, but then you have no reason to watch that first game.
No, I'll find a reason.
Yeah, you watch it, as George said, because it's on TV.
I like.
Can I ask Tim one Thanksgiving question?
Yes, please.
What are your thoughts on like completely non-traditional Thanksgiving foods at a Thanksgiving meal? Like,
unless they have a very, very special familial place, like your grandmother or grandfather brought it from their home country or whatever. Unless there's like some like deep-rooted reason.
So like Pizza Hut wouldn't be allowed.
Get off the table.
Yeah,
Get
but
it off.
what if your uncle is Pizza the Hut? What then? Do you just eat him?
Okay, you know what? Then you get an exemption. But like people eating salads and eating like this new age stuff, get it off the table. Come on, this is Thanksgiving. It's traditional. Eat the normal stuff. Have your turkey. Have your potatoes. Have your dressing.
But what about like straight barbecue? Like,
no. Gotta go.
I am 100% on board with this because turkey kind of sucks. That if you can jazz up the meat portion, like you could do, you don't even need to use Thanksgiving. You could do ham if you wanted to. Barbecue would be amazing. If you're gonna get people together every so often, it's gonna happen once a year, twice a year, whatever it is. You probably want to eat the best stuff possible. If everyone else likes the other thing, just eat the other thing. Who cares?
Turkey is a part of the tradition. No. Turkey is really good.
Who gives a shit? It's supposed to be about being with your family, right?
Oh, it also goes back to the first Thanksgiving, and turkey is delicious.
Do we really want to talk about? Do we really want to talk about Thanksgiving, like actual Thanksgiving traditions?
No, but I'm just saying.
So you're going to pick and choose the traditional part of Thanksgiving that you want to go with.
I'm just saying that turkeys have long been a part of Thanksgiving. The president pardons one every Thanksgiving. Like turkey is synonymous with Thanksgiving. You don't need to be cool and hip and countercultural.
You don't have to lose the turkey, though. I'm not saying no turkey. I'm saying somebody puts a lasagna on the spread also.
That's not. Have lasagna on the Friday. Have it on the Wednesday. Have it on the Tuesday. I don't care. Not on Thanksgiving Day, for heaven's sake. That's meant for turkey and dressing and as much gravy as you can slather on that plate and as much cranberry sauce as you can fire on that plate. That's what Thanksgiving is meant for. Like I said, unless there is a particular and special reason why another dish is the thing that you're serving for Thanksgiving. Other than that, no. Go with what works. It was good enough for your grandparents at their Thanksgiving dinners. It was good enough for my parents. It was good enough for me growing up. It's good enough for the future generations and the generations after that. I say God bless it, and I want that turkey. And I want to load it up with that gravy. That turkey gravy is delicious if it's made the right way. And I will hear no argument to the contrary.
What are you punching?
My leg.
Oh, but we know that you bruise easily with your tissue skin. Are you bruised now?
No, because apparently my leg is stronger than my arm.
You know what? So soft fuck. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to invite you over to Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm just going to drop on you Chinese food.
Yeah. Oh, I wish.
And then you're going to have a fucking meltdown.
No, I won't have a meltdown.
You and my son will be in this corner crying, but he's 1.5 years old.
No, I'm a mature adult. And
you sound like it. You sound like a mature adult.
But like Thanksgiving is meant for an immaculate turkey dinner. And when you can do
Thanksgiving can be whatever the fuck you want it to be.
Well, of course it can be, but this whole free to be you and me stuff, like there is a place for tradition. There is a place for, having respect for what came before and just go with it. Turkey's fine. It's actually a neutral bird. The very few people I met have ever said, "Oh, I hate the taste of turkey." It's very rare.
You are correct about it being neutral. It's fine, but you can do better in the meat department.
You know what? The good Lord gave you 364 other days in which you can do that.
Yeah, but you don't get to eat with, like you said, like on our Thanksgiving, we had 13 people over at our dining room table to sit around and eat. Like,
have something else at Christmas then, or at another big event. Have your ham or whatever your other meal is. And I actually feel more strongly about having the traditional meal at Thanksgiving than I do at Christmas. I think at Christmas there's a lot more room to play around with things than there is at Thanksgiving.
I think people will stick to it. People will stick to it because of tradition. You don't need to do that. Tradition is stupid. Like,
no,
do whatever you want. You only get to live once. And Tim tries to live like he's 90 years old anyway. So you probably don't want to do that.
I want the old-fashioned shot.
I actually don't think you know what you prefer. Just someone told you what you prefer 30 years ago, and you're unable to change your mind about anything.
Having that turkey dinner makes me very happy. I connect a nostalgia to that, but also I kind of like turkey. It's an opportunity to have lots and lots of gravy and lots of cranberry sauce and lots of dressing. You can't have dressing with your barbecued brisket or with your smoked salmon or whatever it is that you're going to have, because I've got to be so alternative that I can't have turkey at Thanksgiving. Let me put up on Insta in pano mode on my phone what out of the box Thanksgiving meal I'm having so that I can get all those Insta IG likes. Go ahead. That's if you need to live in the esteem of others, I guess go ahead and do that. But I'm saying there's something
but in your version of this, you're the one who's living in the esteem of others. The people who are having the stuff that they want are just living for themselves.
No, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, but that's because you're an insane person.
Okay, well, fine. Like, I stand by
you're just living your truth, not the truth. The objective truth, once again. Additionally, the way to do this is, Geoff, and I don't know if you guys do this or not, but if you really want to have the full Thanksgiving experience, and you have the means to do so, rent plates, rent cutlery, rent all the stuff, and order all the shit to your house. And you can do it. There's services that will do it for you. The cleanup is super easy. Then you don't have people in the fucking kitchen the entire time. The host isn't stressed out the entire time. Yep. Everything comes. It'll cost you like $400 to feed like 12 people. And then you put it back. You just put it back in the basket. You bring it back the next day. You don't even have to clean everything. You just have to put it back in the basket. It is a fucking lifesaver, and it makes people way happier the day because you always have the 2 or 3. You let me fucking finish. Can you do that? Did you think you were on mute again?
No,
you didn't, or you did?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
You know what? You close the fucking show. Tim and the Cust.
Tim and the Cust.
White meat, dark meat, all will be served. Thanksgiving. That's all I got. I don't have the talent for hosting. You do. I'm a fool. You're bright. I'm dumb. You're smart. You're talented. I'm not.
He's sane. You're insane.
No, I'm not.
No, please. I'm waiting. Close the show.
No, I got nothing else. Go to the Amazon. Give it 5 stars on iTunes. Whatever it is that you're supposed to do. I know you're supposed to give 5 stars. I know that.
Have you have an iPhone. Have you ever done this?
Yes, when you told me to.
If I search through, I'll find your name on there. Are you sure?
I didn't leave a comment.
Well, why not? You can't even help out our own show.
I can make the comments on other shows.
Yeah, but this is the important one.
Maybe I did do it on this one too. I did it on a bunch at one point. It was like an afternoon where I did a bunch of them.
On Apple?
Yes.
Not just like a YouTube comment or something.
No, I'm not a moron. I know you don't mean leave a comment on YouTube.
Well, I mean, you can comment. You can time comment the show on YouTube.
And people should.
Last thing, this just came up, and Geoff, you'll enjoy this because you hate LeBron. Gilbert Arenas just told the guy that LeBron elbowed on Instagram. It's a really long post, but essentially, get ready to pack yo winter jackets because you're about to be traded to Budapest or somewhere I don't even know because you're going to be out of the league. You're going to be drug tested just to make sure that your rage isn't drug related, and we don't do that in the NBA. Basically, you hit the king, you're out of the league.
Oh yeah, Gilbert Arenas is one to talk about acting appropriately in an NBA locker room.
I saw that post. He made mention that this will be worse for him, that fights were worse for him than gun incidents in terms of the league.
I can't stand Gilbert Arenas. The day after that happened, when he went into the team huddle with the finger guns, pretending to be all cool, like in the league that had to suspend him at that point, like Gilbert Arenas doesn't have any credibility on this kind of stuff.
I mean, he might know. He might be the inside.
But he's
man.
right, though, about leagues protecting their own. Remember, there's that famous video of Wayne Gretzky being laid out by a Toronto Maple Leaf in like 1981 or whatever. That guy was never allowed to play another shift in the NHL.
Although, Pat, I will say I've avoided being like the cranky uncle, because I was with my nephew the other day on the weekend, and he was wearing a LeBron James shirt, and I was so being like, how can you wear that shirt? He supports China. Like, just being the drunk uncle. I was like, no, let him have LeBron in Space Jam. That's not for me to ruin. I don't give a shit.
See, what, although Tim doesn't like talking at Thanksgiving, someone did suggest that the Cust Corner should be the 5 things you should talk about at Thanksgiving with your family, ranked by Tim Andercust.
Number 1 is just old family memories. Those are the best.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about people who are no longer with us anymore and warm, fun memories that you have of them.
Once again, you really just overshadow how much people severely dislike their family.
Maybe, but those are family members whom we loved and we've lost.
Oh yes, we loved our uncle so much when he used to beat our aunt. Yeah, he was a great guy.
Well, no, obviously obviously not. But like if a grandmother or a great grandmother is no longer with us, you can tell a warm or fun story about them. Just don't talk about politics or stuff like that at the Thanksgiving table. Like there's no need for that.
I remember when Joey Harrington blew the cover.
Well, at least that yes, if you want to talk about bad beats, I don't know whether everybody at the table are going to enjoy hearing about your bad beats, but talk about nice family memories. You can't go wrong with those, I don't think.
I remember my grandfather. He'd sit at the window and look outside, and if he saw anyone of color, he'd say they should go back to their own country. Because my grandfather
that is not a charming family story at all. That's terrible.
Well, you're remembering things about your deceased relatives. These are the things that you remember.
Well, I remember the nice things, like the hermit cookies my great-grandmother used to make me. She'd go, here, governor, here's the cookies or whatever, and I would eat them. Like, I remember once, no, I'm not going to tell her. No, whatever, I'll tell her. There was only one cookie left, and I was like 2 or 3, I guess. I don't even remember those. Like, she told me this. There was a cookie left on the counter. She said, can I have it? And I grabbed it, put it in my mouth right away. And
you literally, you were you probably still are a Thanksgiving dictator. Like, you just barking out orders at people.
Well, I'm just making sure that all the trains run on time. It's important to me that like things get served in a particular way and that certain things are always on the menu.
Yeah, Tim Mussolini.
You'll call out your grandma or aunt or
but hold on. Mussolini over here doesn't have a hand in preparing any of the food, yet he's going to tell you how it should be eaten and what should be eaten in what order and when.
Yeah, like this came up this Thanksgiving where Mom is like, I don't know if we're going to have squash this year. And I said, well, then we're not having Thanksgiving, basically, because if there's no squash on the table, it's not Thanksgiving. So, and they didn't have a squash. So I bought a squash. Like, gotta have squash. Can't have Thanksgiving without that.
Did you make the squash?
Pardon me?
Did you make the squash?
No, I didn't. But like,
then you can go fuck yourself. Honestly.
But I bought the squash. I bought it.
Don't invite you. You are the worst.
I don't know how to make
in the world.
I don't know how to make squash. Well, if I was invited to somebody's house, I would bring something. Like dinner rolls or whatever.
No one wants your fucking dinner rolls, Tim. No one wants them.
But there's always dinner rolls at Thanksgiving. It was good enough for the family for the last 30 some odd years. It's not good enough now to have dinner rolls or squash.
You realize that not everything from the past is a good thing. You could probably cut out the dinner rolls. You know what? You home make. I don't want your fucking $1.99 store-bought dinner rolls. You want to bring dinner rolls? You fucking make them. You make them yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I've always had. And that's what I like. And
no one gives a shit.
I'm clinging to stuff, I guess, that are memorable.
Maybe it's time that you should move on.
I don't want to move on.
Well, maybe you'd be so less depressed you wouldn't be eating over the sink.
Well, which again, as I keep telling you, that poll continues to be squarely in my favor. Some people saying they eat every meal over the sink.
Do you think that those people are trolling you?
No, but with 1,300 plus votes in, I'm at 17.2%. I'm going to win this handily. Again, you don't understand the people the way I understand the people.
I mean, you do understand that there's a lot of sad people that follow you. I was not aware.
I don't
of
think
that.
it's sad.
It is about the saddest thing you can do.
Oh, I can think of. No, I'm sure it's not.
It's like having a beat in the shower when there's no one else home. That's how sad it is.
Yes, that would be terrible.
But I mean, if someone else is home, obviously you're gonna have a beat in the shower.
All right. Let's not talk.
You've
about
never
that.
had a beat in the shower?
I don't want to talk about such things.
So you do it every morning, don't you?
My goodness gracious, no! Oh, I don't like. I'm a prude, and I don't like to talk about these things.
Just remember, you get it all down the drain. You don't want to like stick it at the very top.
No. Let's wrap this up.
And
no.
Especially you're good because you haven't started losing your hair yet. But if you do lose your hair, then that stuff gets all mixed up, and then it sticks right
my
at the top.
god! God! This is now going to have to be like rated G or PG-14 or X or whatever now.
I don't think
E
so.
Or whatever the ranking
this
is.
is what normal people talk about, Tim. They can joke around about this stuff because they're not from 1949.
Well, just put it this way: these are not things you talk about at the dinner table.
Maybe not at your house.
No, not at my house. My grandmother would pick up her plate, and that would be it. The meal.
Yeah,
would be
and you know
over.
what? You say, you know what, Grandma? You can fucking beat it. We'll talk about what we want.
We have
I would get up
an
from the table.
important vote has been casted. Clearly, Cam Stewart has chimed in
Yeah, I saw
to
it.
say, "Who doesn't?" when referring to eating
And
over
who
the
is
thing.
more of a man of the people than Cam? Really?
Most people?
I'm glad to see that Cam and I are on the same side. You should talk about this on Friday if you get a chance with Cam. But Cam will agree.
All right. That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. I'll continue to bribe you for Apple reviews, so go do that. Play in the Listeners League link, prizepicks.com, code MMN. Get in on it right now. And you can find all of the details in the description. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!